this is otherwise state champ Alex Thomsen. This is Josh Elwer from the University of Northern Iowa, and you're listening to Potentially Dangerous on IA Russell.
Hey, is this heaven?
No, it's Iowa.
From high school to international wrestling, on the mat and beyond, this is the Potentially Dangerous podcast with the guys from IA Russell.
If you're a fighter, you like a fight. If you're an American, you like a fight. If you're an Iowa Hawkeye, you know you're going to get a fight.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and all your podcast-friendly apps. And follow us on social media platforms at IA Russell. Time to strap it up and get to the show. Welcome back to Potentially Dangerous by IA Russell. I'm Tony Hager, joined as always by Ross Barczyk. Long weekend from Memorial Day. I got to go back and do there was a ride for a friend that passed away on service, so I was able to go back and do all that stuff with family and friends. And Ross, what'd you do this weekend?
Just kind of hung out with some family around the area. Got to go boating on the Coralville Reservoir. Mississippi's a little too high. That's what we usually do, my family on the Memorial Day weekend. But so it's nice that we found a way to get out on some water, found a beach, and had a few blue yummies, and just kind of enjoyed the nice weather we had.
Yeah, it was ended up being beautiful. It rained a couple days, leading up to the weekend, but it was ended up being pretty great. So can't complain about that. I mean, did you do what was your favorite part of the weekend?
Just kind of the relaxing part of it, just there wasn't a whole lot of wrestling going on. There was that Southeast Regional. We only had just like 7 or 8 guys going out to the national duel, so just wasn't a whole lot going on for our state, so it was nice that we got the opportunity to just kind of kick back. Now we're going to be hitting universities coverage and then world team trials, so it's kind of nice that we got this week right before all that kicks in.
Yeah, this next month is just insane. World team trials, obviously the biggest deal, juniors and whatnot. But I was looking at this past weekend, how Iowa boys did. Biggest thing that stood out to me was the Biscaglia versus Reeves match. Biscaglia getting it done. That's a match that we'd wanted to see. So got to see some big guys from Iowa going at it. So that's always great. Any other? I mean, was there any surprise matches or big wins that you saw? I mean, Nelson Brands went down. I saw that. But anything else that you saw that caught your eye?
I mean, I didn't see anything too crazy. I was probably a little surprised that Leisure was one of the only ones coming away with hardware at the Southeast Regional for cadet junior level. I think we had a schoolboy double up too, but that wasn't a name I was familiar with. So I was a little shocked because I feel like the last 2 years, Mark Ryland, I'm pretty sure is the guy that takes everyone out there, and usually his crew he takes out there comes back with some hardware. So I was a little, I guess, surprised by that, if anything.
Yes. How many people did go to the Southeast Regional?
I want to say we had like 8 guys. They were West kids. Guy Snow. Dang it. Now I'm really blanking on names. I thought there was a Stump that went. But, I mean, it's not like we sent a lot. Yeah, I think it's just 1 van's worth, so nothing too crazy.
Well, let's get, with every week, these rumors, it's basically Iowa. Iowa right now is there's a lot of stuff going around the Iowa wrestling room or around there, from putting up a facility to Imar to Joey McKenna. I mean, I think we should just kind of update people, kind of what we know. And Justin Mejia, I know that's somebody that you have some contact with him and his family. Where do you think where are they at right now?
Well, to kind of kick it off, I think the big thing was came out of Inside Trip podcast, a couple Ohio boys, just kind of some wrestling fans doing a podcast, much like the Blood Round Boys, who we also love. They kind of did an interview with Imar that I thought went a little under the radar. Isaiah went on there and said that, he didn't see himself transferring out of Illinois. He thought about transferring to Iowa, but he just said he had some unfinished business to do. So, I mean, with that news, that kind of, with him saying those comments, it kind of makes it a little more concrete that he's probably staying at Illinois. But so to kind of back up to your question on Mejia, I was talking to the family. I kind of asked where Justin was at, how he was doing with this news. And, they said they're really excited to be, at the University of Illinois still. They also thought that Imar was staying at Illinois. And that was kind of news before that podcast came out. So we kind of had that Imar was maybe leaning on staying. So I think the Mejia family is looking forward to having that Cali presence in the Illinois room. What are your thoughts on Imar coming out and saying that, he's thinking about staying then?
Well, I think that it makes sense. I mean, to move your senior year is a big change, obviously, right? I mean, he'd be going with his coach, but I mean, there's just so much more that goes into that, right? So I get both sides. I get why a kid would want to be where his coach is going, but I also get, he's got a lot of friends probably around the area that, support him not on the mat. And there's something to be said about that too. Your family support is huge, and your friendships, and one guy can't be everything to you probably.
Yeah. The one thing I heard him say was, how important Jeremy Hunter was to him. He said he's kind of the main technician for him. And Perry's just kind of the mental approach and built him, his mentality, I guess is what he said. But he gave a lot of props to Hunter, gave a lot of props to Heffernan about how they go about running the program and training him. And he said that Hunter and I think he said Brian Nedlin's going to be in his corner for the World Team Trials. So even though, I think that was kind of up for debate too, whether Mark would go sit in his corner. But question for you, because I'm not sure how I feel on this, but do you think the door is, these comments seem definitive, but is the door closed? You think there's no chance of Imar transferring now?
Well, I mean, there's never not a chance, Perry said at that Hawkeye Wrestling Club dinner that, he doesn't take no for an answer, and he goes after recruits hard, and he essentially is trying to re-recruit Imar to come with him, right? So if he thinks that he can get him in graduate school, then he's gonna do his best to make it happen. So I don't think that door is shut until next season starts, or when he graduates and enrolls in graduate school, I guess. So there's so many. With McKenna news that we talked about a few weeks ago, and now it's kind of getting brought to light a little bit of some other schools that he's looking at. So, if you're a coach and you're saying, okay, this is a lineup we possibly could have, and if you compare it to Illinois' lineup, you're going to be surrounded by people that are going to push you. Alex Marinelli, for one, would be his partner. So it's a double-edged sword, I guess, for him. But I would think that you'd want to be around. If you had a spot in the lineup, you knew there was going to be your spot. You'd want to be a team that could contend for a title.
Yeah, I don't know what percentages are worth, but 10% is what I'm feeling. I don't think it's over, but I feel like it's pretty relatively low. But things can change, I think the biggest thing that would happen is one of these big transfers coming through like McKenna, which obviously there's another low chance right now, Pat Lugo. But, if you get some impact guys in there, and especially guys around Imar's weight to just make it more attractive for him to come, I think that would, I think I independently reached out to him and asked, Isaiah, what are you thinking? And he said something like, I have no plans of transferring out of Illinois. And to me, that doesn't say like there's no chance. He just, he's not planning on it, and things can come up that you don't plan on. So that's kind of the point I wanted to make there. What do you think about this? Any developments on Lugo or McKenna?
Well, from what I know, I'm being told that Pat Lugo is trying to get into Iowa, and again, this is probably like third or fourth hand, not from the staff. What I've heard is they can't get him in. They can't get him into Iowa, and then there's some off the mat problems too that are just kind of making him not able to get into Iowa. So I don't know what those issues are. Again, I don't know if it's grades, but I'm just being told that he can't get into Iowa eligibility wise. So I don't know what his academics were like at Edinboro. So if he doesn't have the right amount of credits or prerequisites or something, there's lots of factors that go in that. You just that's kind of the misconception is that these kids have to apply to get into school still. They just because they're studs doesn't mean they don't have to have a good ACT. And every school has different academic guidelines. So maybe Iowa is tougher than Edinboro's. I don't know. But again, that is coming third, fourth hand. So I don't want to say that he can't get in, but that's what I'm hearing, I guess. So Pat Lugo is maybe a 5% chance, if not 0% chance, from what I'm being told. It's not that he doesn't want to come to Iowa. I think he can't get in. And then what was the other one you asked me about?
What is the latest on Joey McKenna?
Yeah. From kind of my talks, it's gone quiet. But the last conversation I had after this news got brought up with these other schools is that Iowa would be in the number one slot from those schools. So, there is a connection there. There's good connections at Lehigh, and I think again, if you go back and you're a coach and you're selling a kid on this, if he comes to Iowa, talks to the Brands and Morningstar and Perry and everybody, this is where you would fit in this lineup, and there's really nobody that's going to challenge you for the spot. This is your spot, and you come in here as a game changer. So, and it's going to be put him in a way better room. Stanford room has nobody for him, so anywhere he goes is going to be an improvement. But the Iowa room, from what I'm being told too, is there's lots of kids out there right now that don't want Penn State. They're totally against there's people that want to join the cool kids club and the people that are dominating, right? And there's other kids that are like, we got to take down Penn State. I don't know if Joey McKenna is in that team that wants to put them away, but there are definitely recruits out there right now that I'm talking to that says, hey, we want to be the team that takes down Penn State. We don't want to be the guys that join Penn State and maybe get in the lineup 1 or 2 years and fighting for spots, which I get. I get both sides. So there's kind of a turning of tide here with people wanting to kind of take down Penn State, and it's always really kind of been take down Iowa. So it's good for Iowa fans.
I feel like, obviously I wasn't in the heydays of the Gable era, but I feel like, if you didn't have that where you wanted to go wrestle for Gable or around the end of Gable era, right in the early Jim Zaleski teams, I think that would probably be your mentality. You either wanted to be an Iowa guy or you wanted to go to Oklahoma State and try and beat Iowa. So I think that's obviously a good movement. The one thing I found out this weekend that, McKenna to Stanford was kind of just this weird thing at the time. I felt like when he committed a couple years back, he took that year off between high school and Stanford, but it was always a weird commitment, and I never really kind of remembered where his second choice was. But I talked to a good guy that, he knows his stuff this weekend, and he told me that, Ohio State was his number 2 out of high school. And I'm pretty sure his visit to Ohio State was maybe this last weekend, sometime in there. So that's kind of something interesting because Ohio State's probably better positioned to knock off Penn State this year.
That'd be pretty. I mean, Ohio State would have a heck of a team if they got him too. Both teams, Ohio State would be better than Iowa, I think.
Right. I mean, they got the NATO, Bojo, and Snyder. I mean, when you got those three guys that are all definitely going to be title contenders, McKenna's probably a title contender. When you put four guys that could go for a title up against Penn State's five, obviously you got a good start. Maybe you hope Imar flips the script on Joseph, and you're right there.
Yeah, it's a pretty sick team, man. If you get Imar in, and then you get another transfer in, kind of I would say the upper weights, that'd be a game changer. But there's lots of rumors, there's lots of possibilities, but none of them really are on that cusp of actually happening. So.
Would you think McKenna or Lugo would be the bigger addition for Iowa?
McKenna.
Yeah, that's probably where I'm at too. Although, there's talk that maybe he's too big for 41 now. That's kind of why, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he would have a red shirt, right?
Yep.
So
both of them do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you could redshirt McKenna, then slide him, if he is too big for 41, slide him in where Sorensen's at. Basically the same kind of concept you would do with Lugo. Where it sounds, definitely probably Iowa's not getting them. So if you do the same with McKenna, as you redshirt him, throw him at 49 next year, and then 41, hope Carter Happel can be that guy, or you get another transfer in. So Iowa's got some holes for sure. The biggest question mark, and you told us last time too, is Sam Stoll's looking good in the room. So I think definitely got to have him. But who's the next guy in for Sam Stoll? After who is that? I mean, they need to start recruiting heavyweight now, right?
Yeah, I mean, is it going to be Aaron Costello? I don't know. Heavyweight.
Yeah. I feel like Costello will have, he'll need his redshirt year for sure to get stronger. The guy, he's a bigger guy, but he's got, I feel like that farmer strength is what I've been told. So just another year to kind of lean up a little bit. I think I just don't think he can. His freshman year could get on the stand. So I just think he's got a couple years for that to happen. But he has shot up the ladder for the last 2 years. He beat. What do you think was Costello's turning point when he beat somebody at during the summer? I can't remember what tournament it was.
Oh, I mean, he definitely, kind of showed up on the radar when he made the finals for USA postseason nationals. He wrestled Carter Isley there in the finals. That was pretty big. I mean, to come from a guy, he made the state finals, but, before that, I think he was just a state qualifier, just kind of looking for his breakthrough. And then I feel like he got momentum. I don't know who he beat at junior duels.
Gosh, I can't remember that name. I think it was at junior duels, though. That was kind of like the time where, okay, he had this awesome mullet, so we liked him, obviously. But then he started beating dudes, and we liked him a little bit more, right? He just wasn't. Heavyweights kind of gets this, this boring kids and boring to watch. I'm a small guy, so obviously I like the 106 to 25 pounders, but I for some reason I liked watching Costello because I didn't know what he was going to do, and could he be the keep knocking these guys off. So you obviously state champ, so you get in the Iowa room, you're working with Sam Stoll, Ben Burhow. Those guys can be complete game changers because I know I'm assuming there's nobody in his room that's pushing him right now. So you get in a room where people are pushing you day in and day out, you're obviously gonna get better. So, got anything else from Iowa?
I do. But it's actually a your discovery. You were on Takedown Radio this weekend, and you found out the University of Buffalo coming to the Iowa City Duels, maybe. I
think it's happening.
Sorry, the only reason I said maybe is because Stutzman said he's got to drop a date for somebody else to get in. But, I mean, yeah, it's just one little check mark away from being in.
Yeah, I mean, coaches, we always talk to coaches, hey, why do you come to the Iowa City Duels? Like, you're just going to get your butt stomped, right? Why do you come in? Well, recruits want to be able to, some of these smaller schools want to be able to wrestle in Carver, and they don't get an opportunity. Now they will get an opportunity. Buffalo is, I wouldn't say a small program, but not like Cornell, not like a D3 school or Iowa City West, which is still not, any, or a JUCO powerhouse. But yeah, you get Buffalo and more Division I teams in there. I was just trying to think of some possible matchups. Would there be anybody that would be decent matchups? I would have to look at Buffalo's lineup to even know. I don't know anything about that lineup or what it's going to look like anyways.
Man, Buffalo, they're returning some NCAA qualifiers. They got a pretty decent heavyweight, Jake Gunning, but obviously with no Sam Stoll, that would have been a really good match. If they had a healthy Stoll, that'd probably be one of your highlights. They got returning NCAA qualifiers at 25 and 33, I think. Definitely got, I think, maybe 5 or 6 total returning. And he mentioned on your guys' radio show that he's got some impact transfers coming in at 57, 65. I haven't looked to see who those were. So, that could maybe be something with Kemmer and Marinelli maybe having a good matchup, because Stutzman seemed to say that he thought they were going to be impact guys, which makes you think that they're good enough to start. So overall, it could be, just a good duel, because we're talking about maybe the first matches we see from Jack Wagner and the starting lineup, or whoever takes that 25-pound spot. Alex Marinelli's Carver debut could be against whoever they brought in to transfer. So there could be a couple good matches there.
Do you think, would you rather see Cornell or Iowa Central over Buffalo? I mean, does it really kind of move the needle for you? I mean, it's not like game changer, I think, for me, but what do you think?
I mean, yeah, obviously it's better. It's what you want to see, right? I remember I think it was Chad Lessicow, the Register, was asking, Tom Brands after the Iowa City Duels this year, like, is this the kind of, results you wanted? Because they went out there and they just rolled Iowa Central and Cornell. And, Tom knows that right now it's 2 lower division schools that they should be putting up bonus in 10 matches. Like you said, it's good exposure for those smaller programs. So I think it's great to have at least one Division I program in there. I mean, it's not crazy. In the past, they used to bring in 4 schools, and they used to do more schools. And, really the guys, when they're wrestling Cornell, Iowa Central, they're probably not working too hard. Again, no offense to those lower division guys. And even, that's a chance you can have. Maybe you have Jack Wagner wrestle the first match, and then you let Stickley wrestle another match. You don't have to wrestle your starter all 4 duels. So they could turn it into something interesting. Maryland was the last D1 program to be in it. I think Maryland's the only Division I school to score points at the Iowa City Duels. I tried to look it up today.
I mean, we get to see, St. John, Skylar St. John. I feel like that's the only time he really has gotten to put the black and gold singlet on is at the Iowa City Duels. I'm trying to think of some other times they called his number, but Skylar St. John likes wrestling at the Iowa City Duels.
That's right. And, they got Moody in the lineup last year. They bumped Gunther up to 74 for the Cornell match. So, Tom gets to be a little bit more creative, and he gets to, Gunther challenged him. I mean, he's a D3 guy, but he's still tough. He's Cornell's best wrestler, and he'd go up. Gunther went up, beat him. And that's good for his confidence to show that he can go up and beat, Division III best guy on the team. So there's some good takeaways for having those smaller programs to get some, confidence in wrestling your first match in Carver. But
what do you this is obviously the Iowa State, Iowa, UNI, that gets talked about a lot as far as trying to put like this whole triangular together, which is probably never going to happen. Why not add Grandview? Why not add Grandview in there? What do you think?
To me, I'm for it in a dual setup if they're not going to the Grandview Open, because sometimes they go to that tournament. So if they go there, they probably don't need to duel them. But if they're not going to put that on the schedule, only send the freshmen to the Grandview Open, there should be a program to bring in because they're kind of big cheese in NAIA. They're winning nonstop, and it's not fun to take them down a peg. Maybe that might be what it feels like, but it would also be fun to see those guys come in and take a chance. Give it their best. What do you think?
Well, Grandview goes to Midlands, not the whole team, but they send guys there. We've seen them take on Iowa State, which I'd like to see Kevin Dresser put on the schedule. The problem is Iowa and Iowa State and UNI has everything to lose, and Warburg for that matter too have everything to lose. Put Grandview on the schedule because they've never wrestled them in a dual format. Obviously, Iowa State did and should have got beat. So I get why they're not wanting to do it for recruiting purposes, but it's not good. It's just like Iowa and UNI not wrestling each other. It's not good for the sport in Iowa. They should be wrestling each other. So Iowa State, Iowa right now doesn't have a date, so they had to Big Ten basically came out with their schedule. So Iowa State, they're in the talks, and there was talks that Iowa didn't want them on the schedule, and there's talks that Iowa doesn't want UNI on the schedule. Obviously we don't know. We don't know what the heck's going on or why they can't make it happen. That's for the coaches to know, and we definitely haven't been privy of any kind of information of why Iowa doesn't want to wrestle UNI, or if it's vice versa, or Iowa State. So everyone's been talking about it's just time to make it happen, right?
Yep, we need to contact whoever won the dinner with Tom Brands on the Hawkeye Report, and they need to ask Tom, when's the Iowa UNI duel going to happen?
Yeah. It's just these coaches have probably been asked 1,000 times, right?
Right.
Of why it's not happening, and we can't really get the answer. But you got to think too. Like there's with the Big Ten and all these conference, the season is so long. So adding a non-conference duel it's just more. It's another way in for your guys. But you could drop some of these small little tournaments and make those duels happen for Iowa, the state of Iowa, right? The Grandview Open, Doug Schwab says he can give us some answers. I'd love for you to get on here, Doug. So we'll have to get you on the show next week, unless Ross can kind of figure out how to do that.
Send him the link.
Yeah, Doug, you can comment,
just send them the link.
Yeah.
Let them on.
See if I can do this live here. So bear with me a little bit here, guys.
Help him feel more at home for Thomsen to go to the Huskers. So, what do you think?
Well, I missed.
I know you kind of dropped off a little bit there.
Dropped off a little bit. I had to jump out to get that link and send it to Doug. So hopefully he can get on here. We can figure out how to make that happen. What do you? I don't want you to repeat yourself, but what's the gist of your question?
Basically, what did you think of Thomsen going to Nebraska? I didn't think it was a big surprise.
No, everybody that I've talked to, I thought Nebraska was a shoo-in. Coach went to Nebraska. Kind of a late addition, I guess. Late addition would be Iowa. I didn't think Iowa was in on Alex Thomsen. I'd assume UNI was on Thomsen. but I always thought that Nebraska was in the lead. Teskey, I know UNI is in on Teskey. I know Iowa State is heavy on Teskey. I know Iowa's offered Teskey. So, those two guys, now I think that Thomsen's pulled the trigger on Nebraska. It opens up that opportunity for, Teskey to make his move, I guess.
Were you surprised about how early Thomsen went? Because he's been so quiet about his process. Did you think it would happen, in April, or I guess it's May? Do you think it would happen right now, or did you think he'd wait?
I thought he'd wait because talking to Alex Thomsen's camp, the coaches, when we've been trying to make Teskey versus Thomsen happen, right? Is they have this real specific plan of what their plan is for Alex Thomsen. I don't even know if it's even Alex Thomsen's plan. It's what the coaches got basically him in place. So my guess is they said, hey, this is a distraction, right? This is a big distraction for you. You need to, sit down and kind of realize, figure out where you want to go. And that way we can move on from that distraction and just focus on freestyle, maybe a little Greco, and, try to become a 4-time state champ, undefeated, and, be one of the all-time greats in Iowa. So.
And I do think that's interesting that, Thomsen's camp was let's get it done before Fargo, whereas Teskey's camp has been, I think all along he said he's going to take this time and he'll make his decision shortly after Fargo, I think is what he's shooting for right now. So I think that's interesting that, one camp is, hey, let's get it done before Fargo, whereas, the second best kid who's neck and neck with Thomsen is like, hey, let's wait till after Fargo, but before the season. Just kind of, I know every kid's different, but
they're two alike, but two very different people too at the same time. I guess their personalities, Teskey and Thomsen. But there's also other guys unsigned, in the state of Iowa that are going to make a big splash and go to big places. I'm kind of interested where Cade Lara will go too. I think that's kind of an under the radar type guy. Kyle Biscaglia too. Like, I think if he gets a little more offense this senior year, he could go to – I think he's getting some pretty good offers. Picking up that offense a little bit more, I think you're going to find that he's going to get a lot more offers. He's real methodical in how he wrestles, and he likes to just pick up that far wrist and just control the wrist and make you make a mistake. So that could be a guy that could probably go in state, but
we know Stotts has visited, Iowa State and UNI, unofficial, of course, since his junior year. But
I think he's a pretty good football player too. So
starts for Valley.
Yeah. So if you start for Valley, you're got to be pretty damn good. And at some of these places that he went to, he took pictures of the football field too. So I don't know if he's just trying to throw us off his scent, if he's wanting to wrestle or he's wanting to play football in college. So it'll be interesting to see where he decides too. And a big one too from Valley is Shapiro. Where will he land?
Boy's eating, so he's getting big.
Yeah, he's eating. Sure. That boy is eating. He's getting big, and I think Campbell is on him pretty big. They want to try to get that 1-2 punch with Barnes and Shapiro in there. So a coach must have just said, like, hey, you need to put on a little weight and you'd fit in real nice with this team here in a couple of years, because he's gotten big this summer. I like it. Maybe he's just putting on the weight. He's got that Valley football program in the weight room or something, maybe.
Yeah, obviously Connor Corbin didn't have any trouble putting on weight, so he's gave Shapiro his secret.
God, that's another kid that hasn't committed too.
I don't think so.
We heard Brown for a while, but that's nobody that is close yet either. Well, at least we don't know anyways. So, but let's get to your Q&As. We got a little bit of time left in the show. We're about about 10 more minutes. And let's get to your Q&As. Hit them up in the comment section here on Facebook Live. New concept we're using here on Potentially Dangerous. Typically, we used to do it in podcast form. It's still in podcast form. You can download on iTunes and all your podcast-friendly apps. But this one we'd like to do live. We like to get the fans' interaction, figure out what your questions are here during the summer. By the way, speaking of podcasts, we dropped our new podcast, Shots Fired, with 4-time state champ Mac Ryder, 3-time All-American at Minnesota, and 0-time state champ Eric Shares. You get a chance to listen to it, Ross? What'd you think of the first one? I think they were kind of tame.
Yeah, they didn't really shoot anything. There's nothing fired.
Yeah.
But I think they'll get a little more comfortable, figure out their flow, what they want to talk about. They'll get it. But it's still good to listen to. Good talk. Nothing fills your day better when you're driving to or from work and you can just listen to wrestling talk.
Yeah, and Mac brings a national feel to it too. He's got a lot of stories. So it's not every time every day you get to hear from somebody his caliber in the state of Iowa, right? So, I like it. I want to hear more of it, but I want to see that they actually do some shots fired. I don't want them to I don't want to let them loose, but I don't want them to talk. I don't want them to be talking like they're going to, shoot shots and then they don't do it. So
we're going to have to change that rating to explicit.
Yeah, maybe.
That'll get them going, I think.
Yeah. So first question from West Hand. Which college coach can do the most rope climbs in a row? I've never seen Tom Brands or Kevin Dresser do rope climbs, but I've seen Doug Schwab do rope climbs on the internet. So this one is a no-brainer. Would be Doug Schwab. If we're talking about in-state, right? Probably Doug Schwab. I mean, Reese Humphrey can probably do more than anybody in wrestling.
My question is, can Doug do? I mean, if you combine both of his sons, can you do more than both of them?
Yeah.
Because I think if you combine those two, man, they get the climbing. I don't know. I might put money on the youngins.
I know I couldn't do more than them. Just one could beat them. We should go in the room sometime next year at War at West Gym, and we'll just challenge them and see who can get more.
Nah, I'll hang out with his baby girls. We'll just sit there and watch.
Speaking of,
definitely Schwab.
Speaking of doing physical labor, this Friday is the showdown at sundown at Waukee, and this is pretty cool. I've kind of been throwing this around, but I'm so out of shape. But they have a K through college divisions, obviously high school, and youth wrestling and whatnot, but they have a 30-plus division. And I fit in that. Thinking about letting it fly on Friday.
I'm going to call Critter to get the camera ready.
Yeah. So it's just a takedown tournament too. So it's not like – so I'm absolutely horrible from bottom. Like that's how I lost state championship is from the bottom. And I got my butt kicked in college because – obviously, you can see my ears. I get on the bottom, and freaking guys would just cross face me and just kill me. But they're 4-man round robins, Pee Wee all the way up to 30 and open division, 2-minute continuous clock, and that's for Pee Wee through seniors. High school will be 4-minute continuous, and college is 3 minutes. So I really only need to go for 3 minutes. Sounds freaking horrible, don't it?
Hager. I don't know. Who else shows up? Is Jessamine Smith going to show up to these?
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, that's the goal, right? Get Jessamine in there, get Jesse Sundell from Ogden, a 4-timer.
We already know he can beat you.
Yeah, he probably can. He's probably actually working in the room and stuff. But if takedowns, I feel like I get a good shot if it's takedowns only. but I'd just die on.
I wouldn't be close. I wouldn't be close, so I shouldn't be giving you too hard of a time.
Well, did Lars take you down, or did you take Lars down at War at West Gym?
Debatable. It was a time.
Oh wow! So yeah, you go to IA Wrestle right now, and the registration is going to close. I think it closes tomorrow night or Thursday. So you need to get in there and register for that. It's on Track Wrestling too. You can find it on there, but our website's got the direct links to there too. So another thing too, if we're not getting any more questions, actually Doug Schwab's got a question. How much do I weigh? I weigh about 145, 150, depending on the weekend. I definitely would cut down to 30 if I decided to be in a competition. I'd probably get down to 35. I'd cut 10 pounds in 3 days. But, 150, I'd get killed by some dad, which I guess I'm a dad. But anyways, I wanted to bring this up too, Ross. You've been knocking out these recruit reports here the last week or so. So you got Costello up there, Max Murin, Gertz. So you're all over kind of the state schools here. There's multiple on the IA Wrestle as well, but you guys need to check that out. Spencer Lee was your first one. I mean, how many of these are you? I mean, there's a lot of recruits. I mean, you kind of open up a can of worms here. Once you do one,
I did.
You kind of got to do them all.
Yeah, I'm working through them. I think I got another 4 or 5 already done that are just kind of waiting up in the queue to go day by day. So, I make sure I tinker with them, and I'm trying. It's another thing is getting a hold of the kids to kind of, ask them some questions to get a feel for them. So that kind of matters too, getting a hold of guys getting some of that information. So we'll have to see. I mean, I'm planning on seeing it through. So I tend to follow through, I think, but we'll see.
You definitely do. And I mean, this is good stuff. I mean, it's good for people that aren't, when wrestling season's going on, you can miss something, right? So this gives people opportunity to learn a little bit more about these recruits and whatnot. So last question here, Ross, because I know you need to get going. But this is from why did I pick this? I'm gonna butcher homeboy's name here. Cody John Grunenwald. Hopefully I got it right. But what do you guys think of Thomas Gilman's chances to navigate the challenge tournament bracket and face Ramos in the finals? Let's do percentage. Let's do percentage, right? Let's do a percentage of him making it to the finals.
Man, I'm going to get burned either way. Because I'm pretty sure he's going to have to go through Tyler Graff. And that's a match. He's a big dude. But then again, it's hard to count out those youngins. Do you have a percentage in mind?
Terry Brandt's in his corner. I would say there is I'm trying to think back, like what did I give Tony? What did I give Tony Ramos? Like, what was his percentage going into the World Team Trials? Right, like I probably gave him 30% chance.
Right.
So I would put Thomas Gilman probably in that spot. I think Thomas Gilman, though, I don't really remember Ramos's accolades as a junior and cadet, but Gilman's got some freestyle accolades there. So, he's got, I think, maybe a better freestyle background. So maybe a 35% chance of making the finals. What do you think?
I'm lower. I'm at like 15. I think Gilman can be if UWW changes their weight classes to 55 kilos, I think he's going to be nails. I think he's better. I just don't know if he's big enough. And he kind of, his last chance performance, he kind of showed that he's still susceptible to those, making short little mistakes that can cost him. It only takes one giving up one takedown and then wrestling a guy that's, Tony Ramos like defense. That's kind of what Ramos thrives on. He only really needs one takedown to beat you. So that's kind of what, I don't know if Gilman falls into a trap where he just kind of screws up, and there's only so much you can do if a guy's just, really good defense and is able to kind of counter shot you to keep the action somewhat going. So I don't know. I'm going lower than you, like, at least.
Yeah. Well,
I know. I guess I'll be a hater.
Well, I think it's you have to just prove that you can do it on that level too, right? So that people doubted Jo. They doubted Robbie Smith and Greco. They doubted Ramos, and they made it through the U.S. Open. So doubters definitely help people. They motivate them. So I'm sure they're probably not listening. Maybe they're listening to our podcast. I don't know, but we're just two dudes that talk wrestling in Iowa. So
Two dudes.
There's two dudes. So yeah, this great show. Talked a lot about Iowa.
Question. I saw Nate Eichhorst commented about what are we doing for Night of Conflict? Singlets or the Fight Short combo? I know we haven't actually made a decision as a group.
I missed that comment. I'm sorry.
It came in late.
I'm sorry, Nader. If it's my vote, we are going for the singlet at Night of Conflict. I'm still on the singlet train. If we do go to a two-piece, it will not be board shorts. It will be the spandex and a spandex shirt. I hate the board shorts. They're too long, and they just, I don't know. I just not a fan. How about you?
I'm sticking team singlet this year for sure. And I'd probably lean that all the way through any other event we come up with, War at West Gym 2 and anything else you whip up, because that's what you're known for. But I'm sticking with singlet.
Yeah, here's one thing that kind of sucks. Maybe Nate doesn't know this, but I'm not going to be at Night of Conflict this year. So
breaking our heart.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to make this gear look like fire, and do some other stuff behind the scenes to make it happen, make it an epic event. I've got lots of emails. This Hawkeye Wrestling Club, people are going crazy, donating money. So we might have a new a way that the event is presented, I hope. And it's more, War at West Gym was so awesome, right? Everybody was just on the mat. It was hot as balls, great atmosphere. Carver, there's just so many damn seats. It's hard to, you can put 1,000 people in there and people think we only had like 300 people show up. So we've got some VIP experience. Tickets are on sale actually right now. Only selling 50 of them. About a quarter of them are gone already. So they're $100, and you get everything's up on the website. You can just click on NO2 or NO3 tickets and find all that out. And so Nate, I won't be at Night of Conflict, but these guys will take care of you. But anything else?
ND Wrestle launched.
ndwrestle.com, North Dakota. So if you got any friends and family in North Dakota, big wrestling nuts, let them know. Let them know that we are in North Dakota now. We launched in Nebraska next year. North Dakota, just going to get some content out this summer. And took over ND Headlock. So it's not like a fresh new website. Got a guy that's going to be knocking out content there, but going to bring our power of social media and all kind of quirks that we have, I guess. So ND Wrestle, definitely going to.
If you're the Klingenpeel family, who else went there? Midkiff. Oh, there's another one. North Scott Kid, upperweight. But if you're those three families, you got a wrestler at North Dakota State, Rick Mathern, ND Wrestler. That's going to be your home. He's going to kill it.
And one more. I don't want to leave this one out here. Shane O'Brien, sneak peek for Night of Conflict, headline matches. We are trying to do the Teskey Thompson match, obviously, to kick off the year. Maybe we'll see it here in freestyle this summer. So that would obviously be the biggest match on the card, probably here in Iowa, if we could put that together. But we've got commitments from Shapiro, Lara, quite a bit of people. This year we are changing it up. Anybody can wrestle. Anybody can basically put their hat in the ring. So we don't come to you. Basically, if you want to be a part of the Night of Conflict 3, shoot me a tweet, direct message at Hager Tony, and happy to put you on the list, and we'll figure out what the best intriguing matchups were. Last year Noah Phi versus Carter Cox. Maybe not the Noah Phi. Maybe has more national attention than Carter Cox, but we gave that match because obviously Cox upset Phi. So there's always, it doesn't have to be the best kids in the country, the best kids in Iowa for us to make a match happen. So if you think you're that kid, you got a kid that maybe beat you at state and you're ranked higher or something, let us know. I mean, we want to know what those matchups are that fans would want to see. If you're going to pack the seats and raise money for the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, we're all for that. But yeah, we're going to hopefully do 12 to 14 matches and might maybe move the time back a little bit too. I'm going to talk to you guys about that to hopefully get more people from the west side of the state able to travel over. We can't get off Friday night, and we've got a lot of people that said move it to Saturday, but we can't do that because of the football game or because of football games are going on, so that's kind of a pain. But we can't move it because of the conflict at Carver the next day. And that tournament is exploding, so we can't do it Saturday night. But headline matches, you won't hear those until after Fargo. Fargo is really, Ross, where we kind of really nailed down the kids that we kind of want.
Yeah, I mean it's too hard to set up weights. So.
Yeah, Shapiro is a prime example.
Well, how many times did we have I think even when we had Keaton Gertz, he changed his weight like twice and then he dropped out. So
yeah,
it just kind of depends. You gotta wait.
Actually, got an OG singlet here. OG Night of Conflict singlet here. The very first year. Old school logo. Oh, you see that?
Yeah, we got you.
Boom. But now we got Rudis on board, and they're obviously killing stuff. So, well, Ross, let's wrap it up. This is Potentially Dangerous, episode 91. We'll check it out on iTunes tomorrow if you're watching it live, all your podcast-friendly apps. If you got a question, between now and next week, shoot us an email at iawrestlecontact@gmail.com. You can always hit us up on Twitter at HagerTony, at Ross Bcheck, and happy to make it happen. Got any recruiting news, breaking news, let us know about it, and we'll get it up. Happy to promote wrestling, that's for sure. So any help you can give us is the best. We don't always catch it, so any info you can give us, the better. If you got any tournaments this summer, too, coming up, let us know about it. You got any camps, let us know about it. We're here to help you use our platform. You guys are, going to our website and supporting us and liking, comment, sharing on this live podcast. We're here to help you, too. So for Ross Bcheck, everybody else at I Wrestle, I'm Tony Hager. Thanks for listening.